Right. Hello and welcome to Female Cricket Live, powered by Radio. Match number 9 of the 2022 Commonwealth Games will be played today between Australia and Pakistan at Edgbaston in Birmingham. The match will start at 3:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time, and you can catch all the live action on Sony Live app and Sony Sports Network. Now, before we start previewing the match number 9 between Australia and Pakistan, let us have a quick look at match number 8, which was played yesterday between New Zealand and Sri Lanka. So batting first, New Zealand posted a respectable score of 147 for 7 in 20 overs, thanks to Susie Bates, who top scored with 34. While for Sri Lanka, it was Inoka Ranavira who was the most successful bowler as she picked up 3 for 30 in a 4 overs. In reply, Sri Lanka managed to score just 102 in their 20 overs as they fell shy of 45 runs in the end. Nilakshi De Silva starred with the bat for Sri Lanka as she scored 36 runs of 35 balls, while for New Zealand it was Haley Jensen who wreaked havoc with the ball, picking up 3 for 5 in a 4 overs. Now ahead of us we have match number 9. It is between Australia and Pakistan, and to preview this match I have with me Dhanush Lavanya and Neha Shetty. So Dhanush Lavanya is a cricket content writer, cricket analyst and a cricket podcaster, and Neha Shetty is an avid cricket follower and a cricket podcaster. So welcome both of you to Female Cricket Live.
Thank you for having us.
Great, pleasure. Right, so Dhanush, Australia have been on a great start in this Commonwealth Games. They have won 2 out of the 2 matches. But if you look at the last match against Barbados, it was quite convincing. They won by 9 wickets. So, what are your first thoughts on Australia's match against Barbados?
Well, it was just one-way traffic in that match against Barbados. We thought of a lot in our discussion when we were hyping up that match, and that the Barbados team, Haley Matthews, Deandra Doughton will be taking up the crucial roles. The Knight sisters will be coming into play, and there will be a competitive match, is what I felt. We all felt, but it was just one-side traffic. It was just the destructive bowling from Australia, and we talked about this exclusively in the conversation where Barbados batters struggling against the spinners, and we saw it pretty evidently where Alana King took 4 for 8, which is like her best figures in T20 cricket, and Ashley Gardner also took a couple of wickets. There was Tharia McGrath who got 3 wickets as well, and rattling them for just 64 is making a statement on well crafted and well rounded this team is, and it is it's just going to be a carbon copy of that, if you ask me personally, when you compare that match to this match against Pakistan today.
Great, great. Nice analysis about the Australia Barbados match, and let us hope that Pakistan is able to put up a strong fight and we do not have again a one sided traffic, as you have pointed out, Dhanush. So, Neha, let me ask you that on the other hand, we have Pakistan. They have lost 2 out of the 2 matches. Of course, their last match being against India, where they lost by 8 wickets. So, what are your first thoughts on the India Pakistan game?
Right. So the India-Pakistan game was an exciting encounter. I mean, from an Indian point of view, we got to see a great win for Team India. Restricting Pakistan's batting and backing it up with a good bowling performance was an added bonus, right? And the win certainly did bolster our net run rate, so it makes the win all the more sweet. But when I look at it from a Pakistan point of view, winning the toss first and then getting dismissed for a paltry 99 is certainly not the way you want to start off your proceedings, right? And Pakistan's start with the bat was very shaky. Renuka Singh Thakur was really restricting the run flow. At the other end, Meghna Singh was also, bowling extremely well. But I felt Bisma Maruf and Muniba, right? They really steadied the innings with that good 50-run stand. But it certainly wasn't enough for them. The rest of the batting was just certainly not up to the level that you'd want to see from them. And yeah, it was all in all not a very good outing for them. They would want to change some of the things going ahead in this match.
think, though Pakistan have lost both the matches in the Commonwealth Games and their journey has ended, but I'm sure that they want to leave England with some dignity as they go back to their home in Pakistan. So, Dhanush, again, Australia, 2 out of 2 wins in the matches that they have played in the Commonwealth Games. So, how do you assess their performance? Because we had some good performances from McLanning in the last match against Barbados. Then you had Grace Harris, Ashley Gardner against India, and of course the spin twins in Jess Jonathan and Alana King. So, how do you assess Australia's performance so far?
Well, it's been complete. If you ask me, the both the games, it was completely different individuals stepping up and performing in both the games. The first game we saw Grace Harris and Ashley Gardner scoring with the bat, bringing them out of limbo after being 49 for five and taking them to the victory. It was just a great example on how depth the batting of Australia is and how well seasoned the number seven, number eight batters are also when it comes to Australia. And in the second game, it was pretty evident the top four came back really well. They performed well. They didn't have much to score as well. It was just 65 runs that they needed, and they finished off in a very easy fashion without taking any risks or stuff. And the bowling has also been really good. Alana King, I just love the way she has been playing irrespective of the format. I was impressed by her in the World Cup as well, and I'm impressed by her performance in this Commonwealth Games as well. She brings a lot of charm into that bowling unit of Australia. She carries the character of that Australian bowling unit, which is a lot being aggressive and on the face and taking those wickets, even if you get hit for runs. Where in this case, she's not even getting hit for runs. So it's really nice to see that different players have stepped up and have been performing. Certainly, I would like to see the likes of Rachel Haynes, Beth Mooney to score some runs in this game against Pakistan, because leading up to the semifinals, it's going to be nice if everyone in the playing 11 have some runs under their belt, have some wickets under their belt.
So on the other hand, Neha, I think we have Pakistan, for whom things have not gone their way. Nida Dar again, who's unlikely to feature in the match against Australia today. So again, how big a loss is she going to be? Because in the first match against India, she scored not against India. It was against whom she scored a half century. So I'm sure that Pakistan will miss Nida Dar as a batter as well as a bowler. So how big a loss is that going to be?
I think, as you rightly pointed out, it is going to be a massive loss, right? Nida Dar is that kind of an X factor in the team. She's been in the system for so long. She's always chipped in with those handy performances. So she will be massively missed. And I feel the pressure just, ends up falling on Bisma Maruf, right? Because she's the other senior player in the team. And Nida Dar really brings a lot to the table. But again, it really shows how Pakistan is not making the most of their depth, right? They hardly get to play any matches, and even the matches they get to play, you always have this over dependence on star players. So I think she's going to be a massive miss, and I'm just hoping for her speedy recovery. Coming from a concussion must be difficult for her.
Yes, so I think Dhanush, we have seen that Australia, they have not changed their playing 11 in the last 2 matches. But now, given the fact that this match against Pakistan is more of a dead rubber, so do you expect Australia to test their bench? I think there is Nicola Carey, Annabelle Sutherland, Elise Perry, Amanda Jade Wellington. Do you see any of these players making their way?
I don't think so. When I can quote the example in the World Cup also, if I'm not wrong, they won like all the 7 or 8 games that they played in the league stage, right? And they never made a change when it comes to the last few games. Irrespective, they made forced changes because Elise Perry got injured and they had to do all those stuff. But apart from that, I don't think so. They made any changes with their playing 11, giving some players rest or making someone else play or something like that. And since this is a short tournament and since they have already had a settled playing 11, I don't think so. They will go to they will bring in anyone like Amanda Wellington because the spinners are performing well, the all rounders are performing well, and so there is no need of Elise Perry. And I don't think this team goes with the mindset that this is a dead rubber match. Let's make some changes. Let us give the bench some match practice. I don't think so. It's more over the playing 11, which will be more rejuvenated. Where they will more feel active if they play this match, so that they will be playing semifinals in like 2 days span, right? So it will be more like having that recency or having that activeness on the field. So I don't think so. They will be making any change.
So, Neha, on the other hand, for Pakistan, do you see any changes being made? Because I think there is Gul Firoza, Sadia Iqbal, and Ayman Anwar, who have not been tested yet.
Right. So, in the case of Pakistan, I was really hoping that Nida Dutt would play today, but you just gave the news that she is likely not to feature. But I really think Pakistan may not want to go with a, again, change in their unit, because I know they've lost both their matches, but they still want to back that playing 11. And in this match, they have absolutely nothing to lose, right? They've already lost two matches. This match is just probably, they're playing for pride, right? So I think they would still want to back this certain playing 11, and hopefully, yeah, we can see them turn their fortunes around and probably pull off an upset.
Right, right, right. So I think we have just a few minutes away from the match. So Dhanush, what do you think will Australia do if they win the toss today?
I would say choose to bowl again, rattle the opponents for some 70 or something score, and chase it off and go to your hotels and have a day off for the rest of the day is what I think. But let us see how it's going to be. You can it can be vice versa as well. They can choose to bat. Certainly, their batting is way more seasoned and way more experienced than the Pakistan unit. I guess the batters would be really happy if they get those 20 overs to play and score some runs, because in the first game they lost early wickets and the batters didn't have much time to play on the field. So either of the results doesn't matter when it comes to toss. But at the end of the day, Australia are the ones who are going to be winning the match, is what I feel.
Absolutely. So I was just thinking, Dhanush, that what could be your answer? So if you would have asked me, I would have said maybe Australia could win the toss and bat first. Because against India, we saw that they found it slightly difficult to score that 150 runs. And then the second game was pretty easy. They had to just score 65 runs. So I'm expecting that if Australia wins the toss, they are looking at something like a 180 or a 190 score, which will help them going into the semi-finals. And of course, we are assuming that they play that gold medal match. So let us see what Meg Lanning chooses to do if she gets a chance to win the toss against Pakistan. So similarly, Neha, what do you think should be Pakistan's approach? Should they bat first or bowl first?
I think this is a tricky one, right? Because if they bat first, they will obviously have to put up a very big total on board, and that can be kind of pressurizing considering the kind of bowling attack that Australia does have. But I think if they were to, bowl first, they should definitely try to get their spinners in play. I think even in yesterday's discussion, right, we were thinking, New Zealand is just going to romp to an easy win. But the fight that Sri Lanka gave, right, the spinners came into play, and then they really put so much pressure on New Zealand. So I really think if, they really do put Australia to bat first, they can really try to, restrict them to a low score, and, just make the most of the spinners, and just have the momentum tilt in their favor, so they're chasing a lower total. But again, they have nothing to lose, so probably they wouldn't mind doing either. But if given a chance, maybe bat first and try to put up a good total. It should be the hope, yeah.
Great. So Dhanush, any key matchups that you are looking at from Australia and Pakistan match perspective?
Yep, I'm looking to see how the young Tuba Hassan or Tuba Hussain. It's Tuba Hassan, right? Yeah. So she has been really promising in a couple of games that she has played, and in this tournament, and I would like to see how she carries herself against the likes of Meg Lanning, against the likes of Rachel Haynes, against the likes of the top four of Australian batting. And Fatima Sana is also one more name that I always look forward whenever I see a Pakistan match, because she has the promise in her to be a big time bowler. So it's going to be nice how these two young girls are going to be up against a really tough Australian batting unit.
Interesting. Interesting. And of course, as Elisa Healy, who has not been in the best of touches, though she scored 30 odd runs in the last match against Barbados. But then it was pretty surprising to see her strike rate, which was, I think, less than 100 or just close to 100. So it will be interesting to see if Pakistan opens the bowling with somebody like an Omema Sohail, for that matter. All right. So, Neha, any key matchups that you're looking at?
Yes, I was actually waiting for you to ask me this question, because during the World Cup, right, Omema Sohail got the better of Elisa Healy and Meg Lanning. And it was just fascinating to see, right? Because they obviously don't know her that well, like, the way she bowls and everything, but she got the better of Alisa Healy and Meg Lanning. This is two superstars of Australia cricket. So this is certainly a matchup I am waiting to see. Like, will Alisa Healy go all guns blazing when Omema Sohail is introduced in the attack? And I'd also like to see Beth Mooney versus Amin. That's mostly because Beth Mooney tends to, take time to settle in, and her strike rate is probably not as good as the other batters. And can bowl those good balls and, enforce dot balls and just try to put the pressure on her. So that is another one I'm watching out for.
Interesting. Right. So we have already seen 8 matches in the Commonwealth Games so far from the women's T20I perspective. So let me ask both of you, how do you assess the pitch and the conditions at Edgbaston in Birmingham? Dhanush, if we can have your opinion first.
Since I remember you saying that all the 16 matches of this tournament will be played on a one specific pitch, right? So they won't be changing it, and it's halfway through, and I guess it's already showing the signs of the wear and tear. And when the pitch gets wear and tear, the spinners will get a lot of turn and a lot of assist compared to the fast bowlers, and we saw that in the last game that both these teams played. Alana King was exceptional with the ball, taking 4 wickets. Ashley Gardner took a couple of wickets. You saw, and Pakistan also in their side, their batting struggled against the Indian spinners like Sneh Rana and Radha Yadav, who just bundled out the lower half of the Pakistan batting in just like 2 overs or something. So definitely, it's going to be a spinner dependent match. The spin the both the spin bowling unit will be tested, and it's important for Pakistan especially to play spin well in this game. Otherwise, it's going to be a tough challenge, or it can be a Xerox copy or a carbon copy of the Australia Barbados match.
Interesting. Great insights from you, Dhanush, about the pitch and conditions at Edgbaston. So Neha, let us hear from you, your thoughts about it.
Right. So this is a hybrid pitch at Edgbaston, and it is again, we don't know what it offers, but I think the wicket at Edgbaston has always been suitable for batters. So the teams winning the toss would obviously bat first, try to put up an imposing total and everything. But if we observe the top wicket takers this time around, except I think Renuka Singh Thakur, the rest are all spinners. That means this pitch is offering a lot of assistance to the spinners. So I will be interested to see how Australia uses Alana King and just tries to put pressure on Pakistan. And Pakistan being a subcontinent team, it's quite surprising how they're finding playing spin quite difficult. But also, seeing Renuka Singh Thakur's performance that day, she was really swinging the ball well. So I think there's going to be movement in the early stages of the match. So whichever team's batting first will have to, watch out for that. But I still believe that, the team winning the toss would, probably still want to bat first, try to put up a good total in spite of these challenging conditions, and just try to, push off the assistance that's on offer for your swing bowlers and later on for the spinners.
Great insights again from you, Neha. So we are getting some questions from our fans, but before we start taking them, let us have the predictions from Dhanush and Neha. So Dhanush, if we can start with you.
Australia, that's it.
Yeah, one word. That's it. Fine. And score if you can predict if either of the sides gets a chance to bat first.
Uh, so if Australia bats, I feel like how you said, it would be a great batting practice for them for the semi-finals. Somewhere around 170, 180 will be on the cards, and Alisa Healy hasn't scored the way Alisa Healy scores. So it will be nice to see her scoring in her normal range, where her strike rate is somewhere around 140, 150, or like that. If Pakistan bats first, I expect a defensive approach again from them. I don't know why they aren't able to move on from that. Somewhere around, if they manage to play the 20 overs, it would be somewhere around 110 to 130 is what I feel.
Great. Neha, let us hear your predictions.
Right. So I really found it fascinating that Dhanush said in just one word it's going to be Australia. I know it's, very clear that it is going to be Australia winning the match because they are enjoying a dominant run. They've won both their matches. Again, they are already in the semi-final. So this is just going to be another match that they can easily win. But Pakistan women, on the other hand, they have struggled, with their batting throughout the tournament. Their bowling has probably not been on par, and they'll have to play like out of the skins if they really want to, put a challenge to Australia and actually stand up to them. So my prediction too is going to be Australia for the win. But I really hope Pakistan can, pull off an upset, because who doesn't like an upset and an underdog winning, right? So I'm still hoping that Pakistan can pull a win out of nowhere.
Great, great, nice. Thank you, Dhanush and Neha, for your predictions. So we can take some questions from our fans that we are getting. Okay, Hania Khan is asking us the way Muniba Ali and Bisma Maru started and carried on in the last contest. It was brilliant to watch. Though they couldn't convert the start and guess, same will be the key today. Neha, would you like to answer this?
Oh yeah, sure. I completely agree with you that Muniba Ali and Bisma Maruf really were building up a good partnership, and it would have been really fascinating to see if they would have carried on what would have happened. But I think a major concern in their problem is again the strike rate, the number of dot balls, and how they just do not rotate the strike. Now that you're playing in T20, right, and there you need to have, it's a fast paced game, you need to keep scoring the runs. So I hope that if they take time to have, if they have a slow start, I hope they can try to just make the most of it, try to attack a little later on and just convert those starts. And yeah, that will be key today, considering Nidadar isn't there. I think these two will be some of those key players to watch out for.
Interesting. Thank you, Neha, for your answer. Okay, can we have the next question? Okay, Nadine is asking us, didn't Elisa Healy in her 23 not out against Barbados look like she's getting back to her best? Playing the way she is often succeeded by spending time in the middle and then looking to accelerate. Now, Dhanush, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, certainly. She looked a lot more comfortable in the previous game against Barbados. The target was not so big, and she could take all her time in order to chase off that score. And it was good from her side that she didn't throw off her wicket or something like that. She stood there, took the deliveries, and made sure the team end up in the finishing line, crossing the finishing line. Certainly, this game, if they bat first, I certainly feel that Alisa Healy will be the player to watch out to score maximum amount of runs, because she hasn't had a good year in T20s, if I'm not wrong. So it's going to be a good comeback match for her leading up to the semifinals. And I just hope that she has a good score under her belt in today's game. McLennan was good in the previous game, and the rest of the batting will come up, even though they might have a off day in a couple of days. But that is a well seasoned side, so they know how to play according to situations and demands. And I feel that it's Arisa Healy's game today against Pakistan.
Absolutely. I think I agree with you, Dhanush, on this because if we look at Elisa Healy during the 50 over World Cup, we all remember that during the league stages, she was quiet. And come the semi final and final, she hit those couple of centuries. And finally, she was the leading run scorer of the tournament. So we all know that she cannot be kept quiet for longer periods of time. All right. Okay. I think we have one more question. Okay. Steve Bucks is asking us Rachel Haynes is an absolute key, but could we see Elise Perry replacing her? Never know if she clicks better than Haynes. Dhanush, maybe again, if you would like to take this up.
Uh, isn't Rachel Haynes like the vice captain of the team, if I'm not wrong?
Yes.
So one is that factor comes in. I don't think they will bring in Elise Perry at this moment of time, because this playing 11 has clicked well. They have won two games, and champion teams doesn't make changes when their playing 11 is clicking. Even though they might have star players in the bench warming, they won't also mind warming the benches because their side is performing really well. So I don't think so. There is a need for any change, and and since Rachel Haynes is the vice captain, I don't see her sitting out either.
So according to Dhanush, an unchanged playing 11 is what we can expect from the Australian side when they take on Pakistan today. Neha, finally, your thoughts on this question from Steve Bucks. What do you think?
Right. So again, I find it fascinating that every time we do a live, there's someone who asks, will Elise Perry slot in the playing 11? I understand she's a champion player. She's been a veteran for so long. She's played so many games for Australia. But I really think, Rachel Haynes is such a class player. We saw her during the World Cup too, and so many series, right? And plus, she is the vice captain, so you just can't drop her out the blue. And why, fix something that ain't broken, right? So in this case, Australia is, well-oiled unit. They have all their departments firing. So it's very unlikely that they'll bring in this change with Elise Perry. Plus, they're not the kind of outfit that's like, oh, we've already won 2 games. This game is just a place where we can experiment. They would want to win all the 3 games and then win the semi-final and finals, and have that clean record of having won all the games. So it's very, very unlikely that this change could happen.
And again, if we look at the 50 over World Cup, Australia had a clean record of 9 matches and 9 wins, and I think they are the only team to do that in Women's Cricket World Cup. All right, I think we have one final question from our fan. Okay, Noor Tal is asking us, please help me with a fantasy pick who to bank on as captain for today's game. So yes, maybe I'll ask both of you to answer this. So Dhanush, if we can start with you.
Yeah, I would say Alisa Healy and Alana King as the captaincy choices, captain, vice captain. You can choose whoever you want. But these are the two players that I'll be looking forward because Alisa Healy has a good record against Pakistan and she has performed well against them whenever she has played. So I think it's a great opportunity and it's a perfect time for her to get back into her groove, get some big 50 in her name leading into the semifinals, and that's why I am picking her. And Alana King has been the player of the tournament for me till now, so that is why I choose her. And she has her best career best in the previous game, so she is in a very good frame of mindset.
Great, thanks. So Elisa Healy and Alana King for Dhanush. Now let us hear from Neha. Who could be your captain, vice captain picks?
Right. So I don't play fantasy cricket, but I really think Meg Lanning would be an ideal pick. I really see her scoring a big total, scoring some good runs. And also, she's led the side admirably so far, right? So she's a very strategic captain, brings in the right changes. And yeah, I genuinely think Meg Lanning would make a good pick.
Great, great. Thank you, Dhanush and Neha, for picking up the captain for Noor Tal. All right, so thank you once again to Dhanush, Neha for talking to us and previewing the match between Australia and Pakistan. The match will be played at Edgbaston in Birmingham, and it will start at 3:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. So all the fans can catch the live action on Sony Live app and Sony Sports Network. And we'll be back tonight at 9 p.m. IST to preview the match between India and Barbados. So do join us for a conversation tonight at 9 p.m. and send us your questions using hashtag Female Cricket Live. Thank you.
Thank you.